I mean, I tend to think of the case of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Very interesting, we don't bring these things up in common discourse. Ali radiallahu anhu, of course, married to Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha, is considering marrying another woman. Thinking about it. Fatima finds out. She gets really upset. She goes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's thinking about marrying another one. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam calls Ali. So you're thinking about marrying another wife? Now it's the father of the daughter asking the husband, you're thinking about another wife? And he says, yeah, I was thinking about it. And he says, whoever hurts Fatima hurts me. That's all he said to him. Right? What did this story, this narration, what does it teach? And Ali obviously did not marry somebody else after that. You know, that the wife being hurt by the marriage of another, by husband marrying, he can't just slap Sharia in her face and quote it, Mathna wa thulatha wa ruba' hal takfurina bil ayah? You do kufr of the ayah? You know, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu aminu billahi wa rasulihi. You know, that's, you could do that. But what did the hadith teach us? That part of injustice is hurting the feelings. You know, in some cultures there's a norm. There's some cultures are weird. They're like, for us, at least for me, it's weird. Their second wife, the first wife goes looks for the second wife. They do that. It's weird. But they do it. It's fine. Good for you. Then there are cultures, if you're thinking about a second wife, the first wife will become suicidal. Then remind yourself of Fatima's situation. Because what the messenger speaks, he doesn't just speak on his own behalf. He speaks on behalf of all fathers of all daughters. He's not just the father of Fatima radiallahu anha. He's the father of all daughters. He represents all of them when he makes these kinds of statements. We can't just reduce that to his personal, preference. So, I mean, everything he does is guidance. Alayhi salatu wassalam. So we overlook these things, Sharia says it's halal, have fun. And among guys, I tell you, the guys that are having the most marital difficulties are the ones that joke about polygamy the most. That's just a fact. No, I'm looking for a second one right now. Because you can't handle one, right? Because you're going to be really, really handle two. I mean, your track record clearly indicates you've just hit it out of the park with the first one. So you're more than ready to handle a second and make another woman's life amazing. You know? That's what you're saying, So, these things have become trivial for us, or people use or misrepresent the religious teachings because they take what they think whatever conclusion they'd like to take and cite that as the actual principle, which they're not. وَإِنْ يَتَفَرَّقَا. And if they do in fact depart, if they do get divorced, if they part their ways, life moves on. يُغْنِ اللَّهُ. Allah will make them free of need. After divorce is a very serious, depressing time. People get extremely, extremely depressed after a divorce. Right? And nowadays we made it like, even engagements are such a big deal. After engagements people get seriously depressed. So imagine after like an actual marriage and a divorce. Right? My life is over, I'm blacklisted, I'm stamped, nobody's going to look towards me again, my life is over, I'm in humiliation to my family, I have no future ahead of me, etc., etc. Guys and girls, and even girls more so. Allah gives hope in this ayah to divorce people. There's an ayah for divorced people. يُغْنِ اللَّهُ كُلًّا مِنْ سَعَتِهِ. Allah will make free of need. Allah will take care of you. Everyone. And He will give you from His vast treasures, مِنْ سَعَتِهِ, from His vastness Himself. Okay? From His vastness, Allah will take care of you and He will provide. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ وَاسِعًا حَكِيمًا. And Allah had always been vast, encompassing, and full of wisdom. So there's wisdom in what you're going through. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Once again, Allah alone owns whatever's in the skies, whatever's in the earth. The husband says, why did she leave me? Why did I get divorced? She was mine. Allah says, no, actually, everything's mine. Why did I lose my family? You didn't lose your family, everything's Allah's. Lillahi ma fi samawati ma fil ard. These aren't just ayat that you just say, let's bunch all of these together, they belong in one place. No. Every one of them has their place. Allah is reminding this person who's gone through a difficulty, look, he wasn't yours and she wasn't yours, they both belong to Allah. وَلَقَدْ وَصَّيْنَا الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَإِيَّاكُمْ أَنِ اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. And we had given a strong, stern advice. وَصَّى, يُوَصِّي. He sought to give strong, almost like a will, to those who were given the book much before you, and also to you, that you should maintain the caution of Allah. Be cautious of Allah. Be aware of Allah. Be in recognition of Allah. Look at all the ayat of divorce. What keeps coming up in Surah Al-Baqarah? You remember? Taqwa, taqwa. Once again, وَنِتَّقُوا in takfuru. And if you are ungrateful after that and you deny after that, فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. He repeats it again. And if you deny and you go and you don't appreciate what's being said to you, then it doesn't change the fact that Allah still owns everything. Whether you recognize it or not, reality is still reality. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَنِيًّا حَمِيدًا. And Allah Himself is free of need. Allah would have made you free of need, but if you don't come towards Allah again and become grateful to Allah, He doesn't need your gratitude. Allah Himself is free of need, and He is self-praised, Hamid. The quality of deserving hamd is constantly His. So the second time around when Allah says, لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, it's like wa'id, it's like a warning. Allah doesn't need you, He already owns everything. Now the third time, and the third time it's positive reinforcement. وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا. Allah alone owns everything in the skies and the earth. Allah is enough to take care of you. The third time, it comes back to positive reinforcement. The same principle again. So Allah is instilling the lesson of ihsan that came before. He's instilling it now in actual life situations. When you're going through a divorce, remember لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. When you're going through difficulty, remember لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. When your problems aren't being solved, وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا, after لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. إِنْ يَشَأْ يُذْهِبْكُمْ أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ. Allah turns to all people. And this is ayat madaniyah. فَنَتَوَقَّعَ أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. But He says to all people, if He wanted, He would have removed, wiped out all of you, people. People. Had He wanted, He would have removed all of you. وَيَأْتِ بِآخَرِينَ. And He would have brought another people. He doesn't need you. Remember in the previous ayah He said, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَنِيًّا. Now He's showing you how ghani He is. It's an expression of how ghani He is. He doesn't need you. He doesn't need you to do hamd. He doesn't need you for anything. He could remove you all entirely. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ قَدِيرًا. And Allah has always been completely capable of doing such things. You are not in a position to say, Allah would never do that. Allah wouldn't do that. He can do anything He wants. And He's always had that ability. مَنْ كَانَ يُرِيدُ ثَوَابَ الدُّنْيَا. Whoever wanted, and this is coming back to the ayat of nifaq also, that subject that's mixed into this surah. Whoever had wanted the compensations of worldly life. They had pursuits of worldly life. I mean, look, all of us have worldly pursuits. You want to finish your education, you want to get a good career, you want to have decent savings, you want to get a house, you want to move to a nice apartment, whatever it is. All of us have worldly aspirations. No, there's not a guy that I don't know that doesn't think about it. That's a nice car. That's a cool house. Something. Whether it's sports or, TVs or whatever. Some people want things in dunya. And that's fine. But Allah says, فَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ ثَوَابُ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ. Allah has in His possession compensations of worldly life and the afterlife. So why would you go to Allah and sell yourself short? Why settle for less and ask just for dunya? وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا وَمَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَقُولُ رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. Ask for both. Ask Allah for good here and the next life. Why not? So فَعِنْدَ اللَّهِ ثَوَابُ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. And Allah is in full, He constantly hears. He constantly sees. And this hearing and seeing is very beautiful in this ayah in particular. Because He hears the one who asks Allah. So the Sami' refers to the dua. He hears the one who asks Allah for dunya or akhirah. He hears their dua. What does He see? He sees their behavior afterwards too. Because you don't just make dua, you have to act a certain way to become worthy. So I saw that you were just making dua of, Ya Allah, exam tomorrow. Unsurni nasran azizan. Ya Rabbal Alameen, give me the ultimate aid that comes especially from you. And now the dua is over, then you hit play on Netflix again. So He heard your dua and He saw what you're watching too. Sami'an basiran. They're together. So, so the contradiction between the speech and the action is visible. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, those of you who have iman, kunu qawwamina bil qist. Stand up. Stand and firmly stand up. Qawwam, as opposed to qa'im. Qa'im is the ism fa'il, qawwam is the ism mubalagha. Stand up as firmly as you possibly can. With justice. Or also means stand by justice.